Today we're gonna do something different.
A little bit different.
A little bit different. We're gonna change it up today, and we're gonna have Big Sexy go ahead and give some relationship advice.
Ooh, some big sexy advice.
My partner doesn't know what I'm gonna ask, so we're just gonna see if we can get some good advice. I'm gonna try to keep my face as neutral as possible.
Good luck.
And on the FaceTime call we had last week with my boyfriend, he remembered he found me attractive. He remembered he found me attractive.
Oh yeah, you fine.
Right.
I
forgot you was fine.
Like I can't see you because if I see you, I'm just gonna want to have sex with you. That means you only seeing you as a piece of ass and not a friend. My final answer is how you move forward. Actually, make it a financial budget line with a sexual professional.
29-year-old sister refuses to wash her dishes. How should I handle this?
I can't wash my pot. The grass is on fire.
There's an emergency.
Artlist.io.
Hello, and welcome to Rainbow Dreamcatcher,
The Love Podcast.
My name is Nilla White. I'm a marriage and family therapist and relationship coach. I travel the world helping people to obtain the skills they need to have happy and healthy relationships.
And I'm Big Sexy, her loving husband and co-host, here to provide levity.
Levity. And the little groan you might be hearing in the background is our dearest doggy, Fox. Fox is going to be a part of this podcast because he has decided to be a part of this podcast. So we're just going to pick him up. If you are watching the Patreon, you're just going to see him periodically.
Right.
We're just going to dip down, pick him up, dip up, put him back. He's just going to be a factor today. So welcome to our happy home. Today, we're going to do something different.
A little bit different.
You know, y'all, we're always trying to do new things to kind of experiment and see what we can shift and change about how we deliver the information we're delivering. And I realized that I have a resource here that we have been utilizing only for levity. But I gotta tell you, my partner is actually pretty good at giving advice. And since I am a therapist and I don't give advice, we're gonna change it up today. And we're gonna have Big Sexy go ahead and give some relationship advice.
Ooh, some big sexy advice.
Big Sexy advice. So this is the Reddit edition because, we're experimenting and, we might as well just toss it out there.
Yeah.
So we're just going to pull questions from Reddit. I haven't really pulled any particular question. I'm just going to pick something that seems interesting. My partner doesn't know what I'm going to ask. So we're just going to see if we can get some good advice. I'm going to try to keep my face as neutral as possible.
Good luck.
Very neutral. Okay. So. Oh, wow. Okay. This is interesting. Okay. So I'm just going to pick the first one.
Mm.
This one says, my 30-year-old female best friend, 29 male, I'm a 29 male, canceled on me because, I guess I'm the, this is Reddit, so it's not necessarily in English. Hold on one second. I'm just going to read it verbatim.
Just read it verbatim.
And we'll see if it makes sense. My 30 female best friend, 29 male, canceled on me because he's scared that he would want to sleep with me. I'm so hurt. Do I end the friendship? One of my best friends is a 29-year-old male who I met 5 years ago while we were doing our masters. He was studying abroad in my major European city. Hopefully that was Spain. We were studying the same topic and had a university in common. So when we matched on Tinder and Bumble, we found we had a lot in common. Although we started out dating casually, once he finished his master's course, he went back across the Atlantic and we stayed very good friends. In fact, we called each other best friends. He started dating his now wife 4 years ago and they got married in January. He told me very personal details about their relationship. In fact, A few weeks before he got married, he expressed his regret about not exploring a relationship with me, that he had always found me attractive, and said he wasn't happy with her deep down. He encouraged me to dump my boyfriend at the time, who was abusive. From what he has described, she has narcissistic traits. She pressured him to move away from his child from a previous relationship. She banned him from talking to the mother of his child. She pushed him into an open relationship for a few months in 2022, has hid him. He has told me his wife knows that I am his best friend, but he has never shown her a picture of me or said that we slept together once.
Ooh.
But they have been trying to give things a genuine shot. He was over in Europe for the first time since graduation, and we made plans to see each other for literally one dinner. He is a 2-hour train ride away. He is married, and I have a brand new boyfriend. When we jumped on a call to discuss actual plans, he started panicking. He said that if he saw me, he would want to have sex with me. He said if this had been 6 months ago, he would have wanted us to have sex. He told me that he had always found me attractive and that he would be tempted to cheat. I was surprised at this because I told him I would say no because I have a new boyfriend now. But he emphasized again that he found me attractive, and on the FaceTime call we had last week with my boyfriend saying hello to him, that he remembered he found me attractive. He remembered he found me attractive. Okay.
Oh yeah, you fine.
All right.
All right.
I forgot you was fine.
Damn it.
Let me finish. There's more. Okay, now he canceled our meetup. The first opportunity to actually meet in years, and he canceled it because he saw me as a sexual being before his friend. I am hurt, and I feel sexualized and not respected. I thought he was my best friend, and now I can see that our friendship doesn't mean that at all to him. Am I being too sensitive here? I can see his point about wanting to respect his wife in marriage, but can you see mine about feeling like someone I thought who was being my best friend actually seeing me as a sexual being rather than a friend? Is it time to end the friendship? Here's the too long didn't read. A man I thought was my best friend canceled the first time we could see each other in years because he said he would feel tempted to sleep with me. I am hurt, and should I cut him off? Big sexy advice. I don't even know what I would say. This is juicy. I love this story though. I'm a therapist. I love learning this stuff.
Couple things. First and foremost, the basis, the answer you're looking for is a yes or no answer.
Right.
Should I cut this friendship off? I don't know if I would necessarily cut the friendship off completely, but I would let it wither on the vine.
Okay. I mean, that's essentially the same thing.
It's essentially the same thing, but you're not.
Your advice is to ghost this person.
Not ghost.
Okay.
But don't block. Don't actively remove them. I know you're hurt. I say express your hurt, but it sounds like the friendship you thought you had isn't the friendship you actually have. Right. Friendship is a two-way street. You both have to see each other as friends first, and friends dip sexually. That happens in life, but once, if it doesn't turn into something, it goes separate ways. It sounds like he's in a very unhappy situation, and sex with you would be a benefit, a happy moment. That he's worried that he would disrespect, he'd blow up his own life in order for that sexual gratification, not taking into any kind of account your relationship, your thoughts, your feelings. It's a very selfish place to approach that situation from. He's only thinking about himself. So I would let that friendship go. I have learned in time that not all friendships are forever. And I'm a forever friend. I'm the kind of person that if I'm your friend, I want to be that forever. But I have learned that sometimes you got to let that go. And people can get really close for moments. And if the asker of the question stayed, I'm addressing you like this person's listening. Just know that that's how my brain is working. If you stayed in Europe, the European country you're in, and they moved back to the U.S., distance can alter friendships immensely, and not all friendships are forever. So while it sucks, and it sucks a lot, it sounds like the guy doesn't respect the friendship first. So you're right to be hurt. You're right. It was not okay for them to, set up expectations and then blow it up because something might happen or they wouldn't respect your no. Right? Like, I can't see you because if I see you, I'm just going to want to have sex with you. That means he's only seeing you as a piece of ass and not a friend. You're very accurate in that assumption.
Yeah.
And that doesn't sound like somebody you want to be a friend with.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that if you're already asking the question, you already know the answer. You just want confirmation that you're thinking of it the right way.
Yeah. I mean,
that'd be my advice. Yes.
Yeah, I like the advice. I tell you what, it's hard for me not to put on my therapist hat.
Of course, especially since this is a podcast about love and relationships, and you're a relationship therapist.
Right. I would tell you that the way people are in some things is generally the way they are in most things. And people have this idea that folks are going to be honest in one place in their lives and dishonest in other places in their lives, and there is no bleeding over. Right. But what that tells me is, without having talked to this person or seen this person, knowing anything about their context, this is a person who can compartmentalize the way that they engage with folks in a way that is best supported, that is most supportive of their selfish ends. It's a really long way to say the guy.
Right.
It's a really long way to say that it sounds like this person is, if not totally toxic, at least manipulative, right? The traits that you're describing about your friend, this is someone who has been dishonest with his wife, right? Because he's sharing the things that he should be sharing with his partner, with you. Namely, I'm not sure about this relationship. I'm not sure if I want to be in this relationship.
Right.
Why is he having this conversation with you?
Right.
Like, we don't stop and ask ourselves, like, why is he talking to me and not talking to them? Now, there's a thing we call in therapy, it's called triangulation.
Okay.
Because it's a triangle. And again, people do this all the time. We have a conflict in our primary relationship. And the way we solve it is, and for folks that can't see, take your two pointed fingers and point them at each other, right? One is you and one is your partner. And when we solve conflicts, we should solve conflicts here. But occasionally I want to solve a conflict, but I don't want to break the bond. But there's too much pressure. This hurts. So instead is I reach out to a third person. Right. And now I've got a
triangle finger.
And now some things are going to this person and some people are going to that person, right? And that means that that person is shifting the perspective around to fit their point of view, right? They are releasing the difficulty that they should be managing in the relationship. They're letting off that steam with you. And in that same thinking, right, if I'm already thinking about you as a person that I let off steam with, I'll tell you about how, effed up my wife is. I'll tell you about how terrible our relationship is. I'll tell you what a terrible person. Imagine what a violation that is. Right. If you found out that your partner that you just married was trashing you to anybody. To anybody, right? So, like, good friend, not a good friend, I don't know. But it doesn't sound like this person is really a person that I would want to have in my close circle, because I don't know that this is a person that actually has their own emotional house in order enough to be able to even determine what a real friend would look like.
And I think you're feeling, connected because they shared personal information with you, but that's not necessarily all a friendship is. If and they're sharing really intimate, detailed information with you that they may not be sharing with they're not sharing with their partner. They definitely every conversation about how horrible something part of his life is, while you're talking to her about it, are you sharing this information with her? Because that's the person who really needs to hear it, that you were unhappy.
Yeah.
You sound like first he initially used you as, a receptacle of pain, right? To dump his unfortunate issues at you. And then now he's worried they're going to try to use you physically.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say let that relationship go.
Yeah. All right. Here is our next question. Oh, I haven't even opened it, but I'm just going to click it. This one says, husband traded money for sexual favors. Here we go. First off, I'm asexual, 38 female, but I do have marital relations with my husband, 43 male, because it's frankly cruel not to. We've been together for 9 years, married for 8. I'll admit relations don't happen as often as he would like, but I also have some medical stuff that genuinely makes it difficult and painful to do it. So yesterday, he asked me about my finances and asked if I'm doing okay. We have always kept our finances separate because I had a terrible credit history and he had a good one, and we decided that his good credit needed to remain good. As a result, he bought a house our first year together, and though things are strained, we're luckier than so many others in terms of a home. I do all of the household shopping while he takes care of the mortgage and utilities. I pay for his and kiddos' phones and any miscellaneous household upgrades. Like last year, I decided that the half-broken futon was no longer acceptable to sleep on, and we went and financed a real grown-up bed for roughly $2,600. So when he asked me about my finances, I was honest, and I told him that last week I had $12 by the end of the week, and that this week I had $86. So this week is a little bit better. He then asked me about my credit card bills, and I truthfully told him the approximate balance on each credit card, totaling a particular number altogether. He chose one of my credit cards with a remaining balance for the bed and said we'd pay it off if I let him do anything he wanted to me. Whoa, what?
What?
that took a shift.
That took a turn really quick.
I was not anticipating that. That's not where I thought this was going. Okay, well, here we go. Let's continue. Although we didn't do anything too crazy, I did let him go further and rougher than his usual. And as much as I appreciate the help with the bills, I felt dirty and like a prostitute. I just can't wash away the ick that came with that. Not to mention that regular gentle stuff is often painful, so rougher was very unpleasant. I worry this will set a precedent where anytime he helps me out or gets me a nice gift, I'll have to put myself through more of this. Oh no. Will I ever just be okay with it? I've asked doctors in the past with help regarding libido and stuff, but nothing really helps, and frankly feels frivolous to be at the doctors asking for that when there are far bigger health issues we need to tackle. How do I proceed going forward? Here's the too long didn't read. I was not, this is not.
Wow.
We're gonna have to add a trigger warning to the beginning of this because, like, what I don't know. That just seems so. Anyway, the too long didn't read. How do I stop this from spinning out of control? Husband is spending money on me or bills as a transactional act for access to certain marital services that are usually off limits due to the physical pain it causes. Whew, I'm glad you have that question and not me, because I'd have to sit back and.
So first and foremost,
yes, so much to unpack here.
A lot to unpack here. I was hopeful that the financial transaction was with a third party.
Isn't that a crazy hope to have?
I mean, not necessarily.
I was hoping that you were just talking about it. Yeah, but
I initially, okay. First, I'm like, okay. Well, let's see. I thought that's where. Well, I thought it was going was that he grabbed one of her credit cards and bought a prostitute with it.
I thought
like he used her funds to buy a hooker when he's the one has better credit.
Right.
Not that because you bought a bed, he then gets to rough you up sexually, knowing, and I'm sure you've expressed, knowing that is not a pleasant or enjoyable act for you. Mm-hmm. When really, he should have just bought a prostitute. Like it sounds like and I don't know the necessary level of monogamy that they're dealing with, but it sounds like sexually they may want to invite a third party in. She doesn't want to have sex because it hurts, and she's asexual. Right? I'm gonna get that correct.
That's correct. I'm trying to control my face. Go on.
He wants to have sex a lot, regularly, or whatever. She going does it every now and then out of obligation, not out of pleasure, not out of a mutual benefit, out of obligation. It sounds like the sex is a transaction, then make it a transaction with a professional.
Final answer?
My final answer is how you move forward. Actually make it a financial budget line with a sexual professional.
Okay.
I'm saying to save the marriage, because you can't sustain physical pain and injury at the whim of your spouse. Either that or end the relationship because they don't care about your physical well-being over their sexual gratification. This is a back-to-back question of people not caring about their significant other's partner over their own sexual gratification.
It's just random. It was just random. I did not think this was where that was going. This is one of those situations where, as a professional, first of all, I would really advise you, because there's so much to unpack here. I would really advise you, that person who, if you happen to be out in Reddit land and listening, you really need to talk to somebody. You really need to have some conversations about how the structure of your relationship has come to a place that it has become transactional. Broadly, there are three different kinds of relationship, right? There are business relationships, there are friendships, and there are intimate partnerships, right? And business relationships are transactional, right? That's a relationship that I don't actually, I'm contracting a particular service. I am wanting a particular thing. I'm willing to give you this particular thing for that. And there really is no connection with that person outside of that. There's maybe like some pleasantries, but like we're not really, And to move that kind of transactional space into an intimate partnership, I would be concerned about issues of control and coercion. I would feel concerned about, I think you are right to be concerned that this is something that could become just acceptable in the relationship. And if you don't feel good, if what you're describing is that I feel ick about this, then it's actually not okay in the relationship. It's just not okay for you.
You should never feel ick in your relationship.
Right.
And you should never have to live with an ick feeling.
And I would tell you that if I have that ick feeling, adding different solutions that don't address that ick doesn't solve the problem, right? Like having somebody go hire a professional, which again, I don't have a whole lot of anything to say about that. Sex workers are human beings. They are professionals.
Right.
They are doing a job just like other people are doing jobs. They deserve to be able to do those jobs and be treated with respect, right? So I have nothing bad to say about folks who either choose or are forced to engage in sex work as a means of survival or resource, right? That being said, right? If you are feeling ick in that relationship, adding another, person via service or adding a different place for that transaction to take place, that's not going to solve that. That ick is still there, and that's something that you really need to resolve. I would suggest you resolve before continuing in this relationship. There just needs to be a lot more context. Needs to be a lot more information. But red flag, red flag, red flag,
get there.
red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. How many red flags can I throw at you? Red flag. Right?
Get there.
That this could be challenging. This could be challenging to resolve. Not all relationships are meant to be forever.
Yeah.
Right. Some have a
And
good
sometimes
conclusion.
you need to have a sexual professional to help out the relationship.
Yeah.
As an option.
Let's do a different kind of question. Let's do a different kind of relationship, because this is relationship advice, not necessarily.
No.
So this question, let's see. This is okay. Different kind of relationship. Let's talk families.
Okay.
29-year-old sister refuses to wash her dishes. How should I handle this? You ready?
Okay.
Okay. I, female 25, need advice on how to handle a situation with my sister, female 29. We live at home with our parents and 3 other siblings in a 4-bedroom apartment. That's a lot of people in a very small space.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, keeping a household of 7 people clean is not easy and gets messy, dirty very quickly. This week, I have the kitchen to clean and maintain for 1 week. My goal has been to clean it every day to maintain its cleanliness. Everyone in the house has a habit of saving their dirty dishes to wash, quote unquote, later. But if I catch them in the act and tell them to wash their dishes right after they finish using it, they all listen, except one. You guessed it, my older sister, the firstborn girl, who is 29. Keep in mind, she has a habit of this. She used a pot, a bowl, a spoon. These are all in caps, y'all.
Okay.
I watched her as she ate and digested.
Did you watch the digestion happen?
Since I was watching her, she made sure to wash her bowl and spoon. Again, all caps. I'm just yelling just like you are.
Well, just don't be careful about yelling because you're going to pop out the mic.
Sorry, I'm yelling just like the dear writer is yelling. She thought she was done. I reminded her that she still has the pot. As she passed me by, she said, "There's still food in there for the rest of the family to eat." I looked at it and it was empty. Frustrated, I looked at my mother, who just returned from a shift at the hospital, tiredly, looking at paperwork stuff on the couch, and said, "Look, it's empty. She needs to wash it." My mom, exhausted from work and life, was too tired to handle the situation. This is very strange to have to handle this. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my mother is very passive. Let's keep the peace type of person. I followed my sister into her room and sternly told her that she needs to wash it. She looks at me while she got into her bed and said, "Yeah, I'll get to it today." It was midnight. She was referring to later that day, since it was the next day.
Right.
Technically. Infuriated, I left her room and simply felt angry. Why does she feel like she cannot wash her dish, leaving it up to me to constantly police her? I feel disrespected and walked all over. There is no real authority in the house, since my mom is too passive and my father is an absent father who has his own issues. The next day, my sister came home from work excited to talk to me about some drama regarding the new Amanda Seales interview with Shannon Sharp. Club Shay Shay, we should talk about that too one day. She's used to me forgetting about issues or lacking the strength to be confrontational. In the midst of her talking, all I could think about was that pot that was still, quote unquote, dirty. She looked at me and said, "You're not even listening," because I wasn't. Things got heated quickly. I told her exactly how I felt. I explained, this is much longer than I thought too. I told her exactly how I felt.
These are really long questions.
They are. I explained that her actions are disrespectful to me as the cleaner of the kitchen. And she said, "Sorry you feel that way." She further explained that she understands that actions have consequences.
That's not an apology.
And she will accept it if I want to. Add a rule where if someone doesn't wash their dish, then they have to wash another dish as a consequence. Or 2, put the dirty dish in the person's room. That's the sister's suggestion.
Oh, okay.
So those are the consequences.
Those are the consequences she's recommending. If I don't wash my dish,
then I have to wash another one, or you can put the dishes in my room. Put the dirty dishes in my room. That's weird. Anyway, I told her we aren't operating on her terms. I am the one cleaning and maintaining the kitchen. What I am asking for is reasonable. I refuse to participate in the consequences. We aren't children. And it's about the principle, respect. I explained to her that she would not do this in other people's homes, to which she replied, "Yeah, because this is my home."
Right.
She then explained that washing your dish, this is a real long conversation about one particular dish.
How long
I feel like there are underlying issues.
That's why there's a TLDR at the bottom of all these.
All right, here we go. She then explained that washing your dish right after you use it is not realistic because the person may be in a rush to get out of the door for an unforeseeable situation, like an emergency.
I can't wash my pot. The grass is on fire.
There's an emergency. I told her for those circumstances, I understand it's okay.
Yeah, the grass is on fire. Don't wash the pot.
Don't wash the pot. I then asked her, what was your reason for not washing the pot last night? Were you in a rush to go to work? Were you in an emergency? She got increasingly frustrated and said, my reason doesn't matter. I got tired. If I don't want to do it in the moment, then I don't have to. Conversation continued like this. I'm skipping some of this. Way too much. Okay, so now she's going to set up a meeting with her mom. This is really, I feel like you probably need a job. The next day I had a stern conversation with my mom about how this is pure disrespect, and she says she would not tolerate it or nor enable her behavior, and it's up to her to enforce the rules. She agreed, and all three of us are supposed to have a meeting about this tonight. So now mom's involved. She went to passive mom and said, passive mom, you need to get this girl in line about this pot. This is the same pot. This is one pot, y'all. How should I handle this situation? If my sister refuses to wash her dishes after using, should I refuse to clean in protest or give in to her demands and implement a consequence system? I also want to add that I believe the root of the issue is that she does not like being told what to do and that things have to be on her terms and not other people's. And since she's the firstborn girl, she is used to telling us younger siblings what to do growing up. Thank you in advance. Please offer some advice.
Ooh. My first advice, get your own place.
Get a job.
Get a job, get your own place. You can't be.
You got too much time on your hands.
If you have designated yourself as there are several things you seem like you have designated yourself as. And you designated yourself as
Cleaner?
Both the cleaner and
the enforcer.
The enforcer.
Right.
Right. And the
judge.
The surrogate mother.
The mom.
Right. To your older sibling. Now, I am an only child.
I got some things to say.
So I know my partner would much more be adept to talking about that aspect, especially being the oldest girl.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I imagine like a younger Jennifer trying to tell you what to do, how you would respond.
Oh, I'm sure it'd be great.
Right. Right. But having had older half or stepbrothers and stepsisters, I do understand some of that family dynamic. And all of you seem like feel this is my house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to follow anybody else's rules in my house, except for your mother, whose house it actually is. But since you don't feel your mother is doing her job as a mom, you feel you have to step in and enforce these arbitrary rules that you have created.
Yeah.
In order to keep the peace. Some would beg the question, if it's the issue isn't the pot, so wash the pot. If the pot is dirty and you, the dishwasher, wash the pot. The issue is you want to enforce the clean.
Some control.
You want to exert control and enforce it clean, but you want them to do the actual work. So you want to be able to say you wash your dishes as opposed to you being the person to wash the dishes. And there doesn't seem to be a give and take. If everybody's responsible for their own dishes, and it doesn't sound like everybody wants to be responsible for their own dishes, because you have to go behind everybody to get them to do it. Because if they're left to their own accord, the dishes pile up. With all your siblings, not just your oldest one. The only issue you have with your oldest one is they're not listening to you. They're not following your directions because they probably don't see you as their mother figure. They don't respect your authority.
No authority here. Sorry.
They don't respect it.
Yeah.
And so the give and take is either you all set up a system and all agree upon a system that either you all wash individual dishes or somebody's responsible for the dishes, or they pay you to do your dishwashing, that you make that your job. Since you're going to be responsible for washing, if you're responsible for the washing dishes, get some kind of compensation for it is a possibility. Or be the person who does the chores and don't set up a list. There's got to be some kind of compromise somewhere in there, or you let it go. So if the dishes pile up, what I understand it doesn't look good, but what's the harm in that? Until it gets to be until somebody's gonna want to not what the harm is. I know what the harm is in that. But if you're finding it so frustrating and helpful, you can either let it go, compromise, or like I said in the beginning, get your own place, set your own rules.
Yeah, it is really tough. One, and it's interesting. This one was posted 5 hours ago, so this is a very recent issue for this person. I understand that this super recent issue for this person, and so it probably feels super intense. Families go through different stages, and I think part of the problem that's happening now is because there is so much economic depression that families don't go through the typical normative stages that most families in America have gone through across decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is where at a certain point, those kids are moving out of the house. And right now we're in an economic situation where kids are not moving out of the house. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem, though, is that it's really hard to change a dynamic that you never step outside of. So it sounds really flippant when we say things like, hey, go get a job and go get your own place. But the reality is that part of how a family evolves is to break off different members of that family to establish their own families of origin, right? So you're going to break away from your family system, from your sibling system, for most folks, and then go and establish your own networks and systems while still remaining to that connected family.
Right.
So I think part of the problem is that, there's 29 and 25 and who knows the ages of the other siblings in a house, in a place where you're probably wanting or exploring the idea of breaking away from a family system. Most of us are exploring that idea. And it's just not viable for most folks, which means we're stuck in those same dynamics. And it's the same kind of bickering back and forth that y'all probably had when you were 7, when you were 14, that you're now having in your 20s because you haven't been able to move away from the dynamic. And when those things get set in, it's really hard to change. So, the takeaway from this is, one, you cannot change your sister. You can fight it, you can scream. If your sister doesn't want to wash that dish, she's just not going to wash that dish. That's just what that is. And no amount of consequences, arguing, cajoling. I might also maybe just ask you, how important is that dish for you, really? I mean, if the whole kitchen is clean and there's one pot, is it really that big of a deal?
And that's why I said it wasn't about the pot, right? It's not.
But again, it's about the dynamic.
It's about the dynamic.
It's about the dynamic. And so what I would suggest to you is that you really consider how you start to maybe move away from your family system if it's not a place that's supportive for you. And if your sister is making things super uncomfortable, the path is not to try to bend her to your will. One, people don't bend like that.
Right.
They just don't.
I would ask follow-up questions like, does this defiance show up in any other aspect of the relationship? Do you guys have, outside of this issue, do you guys have a good relationship with one another?
It didn't sound like it, because it sounded like it was almost like the older sister was the bossy one, right? She bosses the younger siblings, but she won't let us boss her, basically.
Right.
And again, family dynamics, right? Somehow along the way, your older sibling gained the authority to boss y'all. And you're trying to use your mom to offer that authority to you to boss your sister. And I don't know, you're just not getting it.
Yeah, and you probably won't ever.
And you probably won't get it. Yeah. At least not while you are still in that same family dynamic. So honestly, it sounds flippant, but really, you might consider what independence is looking like when it comes to your family system, and what it might mean to have my own kitchen that I can maintain in the way that I want to maintain, that my sister would then have to respect. I wouldn't need anyone to bolster me, right? And that's really the meaning of true independence. And I might add, it's also part of adulthood. This idea that, I have the ability and agency to change the things in my life that I don't like.
Yeah.
It's done. So good luck, y'all. Good luck.
Yeah. How was my relationship coaching? What did you think?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, my face did a few flips around with some of the things. Again, it's advice. I mean, I can't tell you that it's good or bad or wrong. I mean, I suppose I can tell you if it was bad. But I won't. Not on this podcast.
This is the place to do it if it is. This is the exact form.
Well, you gave your advice and I gave my opinion.
Yes.
So, whatever that is, we're just going to let that stand.
Yeah.
Fox joined us. If you are on the Patreon, you can see his cute little face.
Yeah.
He's been trying to get in on this whole time, and here he is.
And if you want to join the Patreon, you can swing on over to rainbowdreamcatcherthelove.podcast.com and to subscribe to the Patreon. You can join for free. The good news is you can join the Patreon for free and join the community over there. But if you also want to support us, which we would absolutely adore and appreciate, you get extra stuff for doing so.
Mm-hmm.
You can do one of the paid tiers and support us for a little bit of each month. We'd be more than thrilled for that, and we'd say your name on air. We thank you, and if you get in on the early, you be said every single episode. So think about that. I mean, just how awesome would it be to hear your name all the time? We'd be shouting you out as a thank you.
Your name.
But yeah, we appreciate y'all listening, and we hope this is good. Shoot us messages. Hit us up on the Instagrams,
the
Facebooks,
the social medias.
Yeah, we can catch us individually. I am at Who Is Big Sexy. You are at Nilla Berry White.
At Nilla Berry White, or at Colorful Humans
or
Global.
Hit us up at colorful_humans_global. Or you can hit us directly at Rainbow Dreamcatcher The Love Pod.
The Love Pod.
On your Instagrams. And Rainbow Dreamcatcher The Love Podcast on the Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Next time, I don't know. I like our relationship. I'm gonna do AITA next time. Next time we do this.
What is AITA?
Those are questions that
the American Institute of Technical Idiots.
Reddit. Am I the asshole?
Oh, AITA.
AITA.
Am I the asshole? I love those kind of questions.
Yeah, we're gonna do that next time.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, this has been Rainbow Dreamcatcher Podcast.